In entrepreneurship and in life, it's 5 things that I want to share with y'all. I've been an entrepreneur since I was about 21, 22 years old. Um, I would say my first business that I started was initially a clothing line, right? BOMS, BOMS, stand for Built Off My Struggle. Y'all see me wearing the gear in all of my videos and stuff like that. Um, I would say that was my first official and registered business. But prior to that, in my younger days, teenage days, even when I was a kid, I was out. I was one of those kids who, when it was a snow day, I wasn't happy because we wasn't in school. I was happy because I got to go out, knock on some doors, and shovel some yards to make a couple dollars. I wasn't happy because we can pile all the leaves up and jump in them. I was happy because somebody gonna need their yard raked. Somebody gonna need their grass cut. I was that type of kid. And so I like to say, I don't think that God ever had any intentions on me being just an employee. Now, for some people, that's the case. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is not going to be an entrepreneur, and I understand that. But for those people who want to be entrepreneurs, and they kind of on the cusp, like, what about this? What about that? I want to share these 5 things with y'all, and I feel like these are things that you need to know. All right, because on the internet, they portray this image. They portray this image. You see people traveling. You see people jumping in and out of different cars. You see people, what else, man? In these nice houses, these apartments. You see people connected to all types of sort of things, right? And they entrepreneurs. But first, you need to understand what it took for them to get there. All right. So I'm going to just go down the list of these things in no order, no particular order. But before you start your business, I need you to understand this. First thing I want to talk about is you're going to have some patience. All right. And I say that because things do not happen overnight. Okay. Things don't happen overnight. So with that being said, a lot of times when we come up with an idea that we feel like is so good, we feel like that idea is supposed to just happen. It's supposed to just pop. Things do not just pop overnight. I don't care who it is, what it might look like. Things do not pop overnight. You got to understand that a lot of what you do at the beginning, you're not going to see a reward for it right now. All right. But what you're doing is you setting yourself up for the future. You're doing this right now because it's necessary in the growth of your business. You understand what I'm saying? The second thing I want to talk about is you're going to have some resilience because, listen, I hate to be that guy, but you are going to fail. Okay? You're going to fail. That's just what happens in entrepreneurship. My mentor told me, he said, this is when I jumped into door-to-door sales. When I was just getting out of college, I jumped into door-to-door sales. This is one of the things that propelled me into owning a restaurant. I jumped into door-to-door sales. And you know what he told me while he was training me? He said, listen, the first thing I need you to understand is the law of sales. He said, if you knock on 100 doors, he said, 90 of those 100 doors, don't care what you say, don't care what you're selling, they have no intentions on giving you any time of the day. 5 of those doors, they'll listen, but they don't want to buy. You know what I'm saying? 5 of those doors, they'll listen, but they don't want to buy. He said 3 of those doors are willing to buy, but you have to sell them. And he said 2 of those doors, they gonna buy no matter what. I don't care what you're selling. They just gonna buy it. They ready to spend some money. So he said you have to understand the law of sales, right? And so I say you have to have resilience because you're gonna fail. And I feel like door-to-door sales helped me. And it helped me in entrepreneurship because hearing no over and over and over again, I understood like, okay, this is a process. And in order for me to get to where I want to go, I'm going to have to be able to take these no's. That's just what it is. I was going to fail. You got to fail to learn how to win. So you have to have some resilience because things are not going to work. You either going to quit and go into something completely different, or you're going to come back to the table and you're going to restructure your plan and then go back out there and try it again. But however you handle failure, I need you to have some resilience because you are going to fail. Some entrepreneurs fail, and you know what they do? They go back into corporate life. They go back into working a 9 to 5. You are going to fail. All right. Number 3, and I know I really should have started it off with this, but I feel like it's self-explanatory. You got to have work ethic. You got to have work ethic. When you're an entrepreneur, it's nobody waking you up to go to work. It's nobody breathing down your back. It's nobody telling you you got to punch the time clock at this time. You don't have none of that. You got yourself, and you got to be able to hold yourself accountable and get up and do the things that are necessary to do. You don't have the what I want to say. You don't have no. It's important to have accountability partners, but you don't have a boss. You are your own boss, and I need you to understand what you being your own boss means. It doesn't mean that you don't have nobody to tell you what to do and what not to do. It don't mean you don't have nobody holding you accountable. All right, you being your own boss simply it means you are now responsible for what you do every day. All right, you are now responsible for holding yourself accountable and policing yourself, getting on yourself. That's what you're responsible for when you are your own boss. You got to have some work ethic in this, man, because a lot of people can't handle that type of freedom because they don't have the work ethic. They wake up, they don't feel like it, so they don't do it. That's not how entrepreneurship works. You don't have a choice. It's either get up and do this or you don't eat. Period. That kind of propels me into my number 4, which is sacrifice. All right. You're not going to be able to do what everybody else is doing. You're going to have to miss some kickings. You're going to have to miss some clubs. You're going to have to miss some parties. You're going to have to miss some family time. You're going to have to miss some meals. You like entrepreneurship is I seen somebody else say this, so I'm going to steal it and I'm going to use it. Entrepreneurship is one of the most spiritual things that you could ever do. And I say that because you literally just got to sit there and you got to have that faith in yourself that this is going to work. You like, it's one of them things where it's like, I don't see it right now, but I know it's going to happen. That's what entrepreneurship is. And so you have to be willing to sacrifice. Now, how much you are willing to sacrifice is completely up to you. You know what I'm saying? Me, I sacrificed a lot. I sacrificed everything in entrepreneurship. Like I said, I started my first business in college because football wasn't going the way that I wanted it to go. And I knew I wasn't made to work a job. I knew I wasn't going to get out of college and try to go get a job and be punching the clock. I knew I wasn't going to be happy with that. And so I tried to create something that would propel me into the next stage of life. You know what I'm saying? Because I felt like I needed to have something else going outside of football. So what I said all of that to say, man, you are going to have to be willing to miss out on a lot. Now, like I said, that's completely up to you. You pick and you choose what you are willing to miss out on. That's completely up to you. And that takes me to my number 5, and why I say it's up to you. Because my number 5 and what I think is one of the most important things on this list is you got to invest in yourself. You got to be willing to sacrifice whatever it is and invest in yourself. And I say that because what I want y'all to understand in business is before people spend money in your business, they spend money with you. People want you. People buy you. They buy your story before they buy the product. Think about it like this, right? all these commercials and all these brand deals and stuff like that, why do you think they work with people that got personal brands? Why do you think the NBA players have these nicknames and so they getting these shoe deals and you know LeBron is King James and Giannis is the Greek freak and so you have all of these different players and they all have personal brands which propel them into a whole nother avenue of business. People not just buying the shoe, they are buying the person. You know what I'm saying? They're what people are buying is they are buying the person behind the brand. They're not just buying the brand. The brand is created by the person. You get what I'm saying? Like, people buy you. So you have to be willing to invest in yourself, invest in your mind, invest in your body, create a personal brand, and then you put your business inside of that personal brand. And honestly, I wish I learned this earlier into entrepreneurship because I did it backwards. I created a business and then I tried to put the personal brand inside of the business. So now I'm at this point where I'm growing the personal brand that I do have, and I'm trying to cover it. I'm trying to cover the business with the personal brand. And so people are going to be more involved in my life and what I'm doing. And so I'm telling y'all this because I learned it a little bit later. Like I said, I became an entrepreneur at 22 years old. So I was just a kid. I was just a kid with a dream. I turned that dream into vision and I brought that vision to life. That's what entrepreneurship is. And I'm giving y'all these gems because nobody told me this. Nobody tapped me on my shoulder and was like, hey man, you want to do this? Let me tell you how. Nobody helped me market my business. Nobody, I went hungry, man. I went hungry. I went with no sleep. I really poured everything I had into my business. And still to this day, I'm doing the same thing. I'm sacrificing. I have to have work ethic. I have to be resilient. I have to have patience. And I'm still trying to invest in myself. Like, these things don't start. I'm 5 years in. These things do not stop. And the minute you let up, the minute you slack, it can feel like you're starting all the way over. So I'm giving y'all these things so that y'all can take them and use them for yourself. So what I want you to do is think about these. Think about these things and think about how you can invest in yourself. Think about areas that you could be more patient in. Think about if you have the resilience, if you have the work ethic that it takes. I want you to think about these things. And before you start your business, think about what you are willing to sacrifice to achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. Think about how much you're willing to sacrifice to get it.